this is one of the things that Stacy mentioned, and it's on page 11.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and there's combinations that you hit, and this is where you write down your own, because these are mine. I'll have somebody come in and I'll sit down and I'll go through the cards, and all of a sudden the King of Spades comes up and the Jack of Clubs comes up, and I realize that this is not about anything else, but there's some legal problems going on. And why the King of Spades and Jack of Clubs, but when they come up over and over, and I'm talking to somebody who's telling me their son's in jail, I realize it's something that needs to be looked at. And it's, it's coming in from the present into the future, and so that. The Queen of Hearts and Ace of Clubs, sometimes you bring in the Ace of Clubs, which is, very, very much change, and somebody has a Queen of Hearts, and they're just really, they're kind of magical, and you say, have you ever thought of being a healer? Have you ever thought of being a reader? Have you ever thought of, and they go, oh no, but I've been interested. And that's when you say, why don't you take Reiki, or why don't you, you point them in a direction. And I always have a bunch of, in my office, I have a bunch of sheets of, if I'm talking about legal things, I can say, here's some places you can go, like to the Bar Association or something like that. If I have something about healing, I talk about, we've got a chiropractor here, we've got, Lori does Ayurvedic. After the reading's over, I give them what I know that might be able to help. The four queens together. You get four queens, and what that is you do your reading, and it goes queen, 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 queen. Well, that means you're look into the goddess. A lot of people never think of the goddess as a path to follow. And you start, are we recording now? I never know. You do this and there's no light for linking. It's wonderful. Thank you. But they're moving into that feminine energy. Now men do too. Men find out that it's not just a patriarchal. There's a matriarchal lineage that's around, and it feels really good. So that's one of those things that comes up, and they go, oh, I never even thought of that. But it opens up an energy. Well, it's the same thing about the four kings. Because we have some women where they don't want to take on any responsibility. And that's one thing that men have been shining examples of taking responsibility, whether it's over the military, whether it's in the home, whether it's, that's been kind of indicated throughout history that the men are the ones that are fairly responsible. Well, when those come up and you're doing a reading on a woman, you say, have you ever thought of going into more responsibility? Have you ever thought about being a manager? Have you ever thought about, and they'll go, oh, I couldn't do that. Well, what would it take for you to be a manager? What would it take for you to start your own company? And all of a sudden you can see this little glimmer in their eye. They never thought of that. And that wasn't even in their consciousness. Now the younger generations aren't as guilty of that. It's like they've been raised where a woman can do almost anything, and I love that feeling. But we still have women who say, oh no, I couldn't do that, and we also have men who realize that the patriarchal gods aren't quite working for him like maybe the goddess would. The four aces together, I love. It means there's a celebration, there's some big festivities that are coming up, and it's like, go for it. And quite often I'll say, oh, you've got this big celebration, go. And they'll say, no, it's my daughter, and I don't like who she's marrying, and I'm not gonna go. Well, the cards say you better, or you're gonna regret it for the rest of your life. And they'll come back and say, I'm so glad that you told me to go to this wedding. I really think it's going to be a good marriage. Okay, but they needed that oomph. They needed and the same with graduations or promotions. We have celebrations in life that we need to do. If not, you can't repeat them. There's no way you can go back and repeat your first wedding. And if somebody says, well, yeah, but they're just getting married. No, it's not just getting married. It's something for them that's important. And this is, now a royal straight, the ace, king, queen, jack, and 10 of the same suit. Hey, when one of those comes up, you know that your life has just changed. You've just turned a corner. Things might have been miserable, difficult, or impossible earlier, but now they are moving forward. And as you do readings for people, you grow psychically. And you might think, well, I'm doing this for them. But when you read somebody else, didn't you feel the growth for you? Isn't that amazing? Here you're doing something for somebody else and you're getting the benefit. And so I always say, you know, after you get a chance, go read people. And always say, would you like a reading? Don't say, oh, I'm going to read you. If you say, oh, I'm going to read you, it immediately puts them on defense and they shut down all the energy you're trying to get. But you ask them, would you like me to do a reading for you? I just took this class and I'm trying, and I think it would be something that would benefit us both. If people are more open, if you let them know it's going to benefit you, than if they just think it's going to benefit themselves, okay? And as you know, ask for your guides or your angels or whoever you feel comes through you. Okay, you're not doing this alone, and the more you do this, the more you'll realize there's an energy, there's a spirit, there's something, you can name it, I don't care what you name it. You, may the force be with you, you know, what the heck, it's like you find it, okay, this is what's working through me, I'm not doing this all by myself. And my favorite story about that is one day I was going along and I was talking to somebody and I said, well, and I think that you should, and Ma said, oh, I don't think you need me. I went, you know, how can you argue with a voice in your head when you're doing a reading? And I could just feel him leave, just kind of, and I went back to just good old fortune telling, you know, reading the cards, and got done, and the person walked out, and I go, Ma, come back, and he's kind of like, you know, because I was saying I had done it instead of giving him credit. And it's not that he wants the credit, it's that he wants me to realize that I'm having help. And when, where was it? We were on vacation and he left it. That was so funny.
Yeah, and so we're going on vacation, and then I ask a metaphysical question, and he walks up with his little surfboard and his baggy pants and towel wrapped around his head, and you know, and it's like, we're on vacation.
Good, but before she said, well, we can't all take a vacation too, and I said, sure. So then, you know, it seemed like the whole day everybody was asking. We were up in Guerneville, the guy goes, oh, Dottie, I've got this question. Okay, I'm not going to dismiss him like that. He doesn't get vacation. That constant of, it's just not me. There is energy that comes through me, okay? We talked about the white light. But I use this to protect I use it to protect my car. I white light airplanes, I white light the pilot, I white light my car in the airport, I white light, I just blow white light around everything. And we were in a place in San Francisco where it seems like every other car got broken into but ours. And it's because I put white light. And what it does is it makes kind of a spiritual cocoon around things, especially for kids. If you know, first day your kid goes to camp, you white light them. You know, you just get in the habit of putting white light. And as I mentioned here, it got to the point that people who were into metaphysics, they said, oh, you're a bunch of white lighters. And I said, yeah, I am. I put energy, I put, whether you call it source, God, spirit, whatever, white light around anything that you want to protect and that's dear to you. Cleansing your aura. This is one of those things that you bathe once a day, hopefully. If not, twice a week, whatever works for you. But you should clean your aura every day. And that means just very quietly, just take a couple of seconds really, and just visualize all of your aura being cleansed and all of your chakras moving. It sounds like it takes a lot of time until you really start doing it, and it doesn't. And say some prayers during the day. Because when you get all nice and clean and you're all feeling like spiritually you're all squeaky clean, then you want to say something. My aura is a rainbow of colors shining in the sun, or all negativities has exited my aura and I am spiritually alive and intact. Or you can make up your own. Something that says, okay, I'm ready. And I visualize it almost like, for me it's like Wonder Woman. I'm putting around this cloak of many colors in my aura, and I'm in my chakras, and I'm sparkly clean to protect myself and others around me. And it's real easy. The place you really need to clean your aura and put a white light is hospitals. The minute you start doing more psychic work, you're gonna find that every disincarnate wants to talk to you. And there's a lot of people who die in hospitals. Someone said, oh, you better stay away from graveyards. You don't have people dying in graveyards. Maybe some gravedigger fell in once upon a time, but basically there's not any disincarnates running around there. They'd rather be somewhere where there's some action, and there's not much in a graveyard. So, but the hospital, they lose a lot of people. And their spirits, because they were medicated or they were sedated, their spirit doesn't know it's not there. It raises up and it's looking around, and where is everybody and what's happening and why is nobody talking to me? And you come in all bubbly and here I am and I channel, and all of a sudden you've got somebody's great-grandfather roaming around inside you. So you want to put up protection, and the protection you use is the white light and making sure your aura is clear. When Corky does depossessions of people, sometimes their aura is almost black.
Ick.
Ick. Yeah, because there's all that negativity that's being attracted, and negativity likes negativity. So if you have something that's really negative and you're walking along, other negative beings will find it and they'll attach to you. So constantly think of, okay, I'm clearing myself. I do it in the shower. Every morning when I take a shower, I just clean my aura and I clean all my chakras, and I can visualize anything negative going down the drain. And then I put white light around me as I get out of the shower, and I'm ready for the day. And in between there, I meditate for a while. And it really works because not only you clean in mind, body, and spirit, you really cleared out the auric energies that are around you, and that works well too. The only negative thing that I have seen about doing psychic work, spiritual work, whatever you want to call it, is if I get too open and have other beings or other energies start falling into my space or coming into my space. Because the more spiritual you get, the brighter light you are. And you want that bright light to attract bright light people. But sometimes it brings in some that aren't too bright. Now, Craigie, how many really mean, nasty things you get? Well, most of the time they're just yuck, aren't they?
Yeah, most of the time they're just misinformed or stupid. Just don't know that they're enlightened or that they need to go to the light. More misinformed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you find a way. Find a way to protect yourself so those beings aren't going to be attracted to you, because they aren't naturally. So start doing that. Get into some kind of prayer, some kind of meditation, something that you can take a moment in the day to calm down and just go inside and open up that spirituality that you have, and it feels really good and it feels really positive. Okay, any questions?
Legal aspects.
Uh-huh.
Because in your blurb before, you talked about how it was illegal to do this in the past, and I know there's some cities here that won't let you do certain things.
They pretty much got rid of the Green River laws, and that's what was keeping you back, because it was against the law for various places in Monterey and various places around here. That it was a city law. Well, what happened is the U.S. Supreme Court was, they had a thing that they were going to pass a law against, quote, fortune telling. And they said, okay, we can pass that law, but we then have to do away with weathermen, because they're telling. We have to do with stockbrokers, and we have to do away with touts at the racetrack. You know what a
Okay,
tout is,
yeah,
the
well.
one that gives you the sheet. That all of those were fortune telling. And I think when they hit stockbroker, they decided not to pass the law. And if anybody says, oh, you can't do that. Now, the best thing, and you come to CCL for church or whatever, and you hear all of these ministers. Well, that's the best way for you to be protected if you're going to be doing psychic work, because it's our church charter that we are spiritualists doing spiritual work. So we're covered under our 501(c), all sorts of things. as long as we're not using it to swindle somebody, as long as we're not using it to do something bad. But that's why our church was founded in 1908, because in 1908 in Southern California in LA County, it was against the law to be fortune tellers. And if you were, then you got thrown in jail. So the Universal Church of the Master was formed to have a church and have a charter that would protect these people and also to raise money to pay bail. So that's what our history is. It goes all the way back to that long. And a lot of that was about, because we'd just come out of the Civil War. A lot of people were trying to talk to those who had gone on before. We were coming into another wartime. There was a lot of finding out what was happening. A lot of fortune tellers telling you what you were going into and what was going on. So that's why you have Reverend Corky, and that's why you have Reverend Doti and Reverend April and Reverend Sean and all these people, is because they're into spirituality and they wanted some kind of protection. So that's what that's all about. Okay. What kind of questions do you have? Paul, that was a good question.
Does it have to be about the cards?
No, it can be about anything.
I want to know more about who my spirit guide is.
Okay.
I mean, I depend on them when I do the pendulum and all that stuff, and I get strong answers, but I don't even know who it is I'm talking to.
You don't need to.
Okay.
And the reason I say that, it's like everybody wants to know their spirit guide's name. And I always say, what was your mother's name when you were 2? And they go, Mom. What else? Well, Mom, Mommy. Yeah. Well, did she not answer because you weren't calling her by her first name? No. Well, that's the same way your spirit guide. Each one of you has a guide that came in either when you were conceived or when you were born. I have some beings that have a woman who had just had a miscarriage, and I said, your little being didn't have a spirit guide attached. And she said, well, what happens if a child comes in without a spirit guide attached? Because it happens hardly ever. And Ma said, crib death. And I went, whoa. And so that's very interesting. So there, but we have, so here you have this being, this spirit that's been with you since you were first started. And all along it's been helping you without you knowing his name. We use gender names, but they don't have gender, you know. Mm-hmm. It's very difficult for us to call spirit guide Nit. You know, it's a guide, it's a spirit. And so when you get in touch with your guide, some days something will happen and you'll go, I'm not alone here. And what do I want to call this energy that I feel? Call it anything you want. Okay. For me, Spotted Dove came into me. One day I was doing some work on a woman and she said, she's taking too much turmeric. Well, why is that? And I said, my spirit guide says you're taking too much turmeric, but it's not Ma. And this voice said, I'm Spotted Dove. And she, at that time, she gave me the name of her tribe, and I don't remember it. But so everyone, I had one person come in. They said they had 144 guides, and I said, why do you need so many? Why don't you, you know, that's like having that many relatives. You get tired of relatives. I got too many relatives here. So if you know. Whatever that energy or that source is that's talking to you, you can call it anything you want until maybe it'll say, why don't you call me such and such? They don't care. You know, we get caught up in this humanistic things, and we feel that everybody has to have a name, everybody has to have a gender, everybody has to have coloring, you know, nationality. No, they don't. And that's what spirits are. They don't have any of that going, and they're fine. The only reason I know what Ma looks like is because he, every once in a while, will show up. The first time he showed up was when I owned a metaphysical bookstore. And he showed up wearing dark blue pants and a white shirt. And I thought he might have been the dispatcher because he used to be the Greyhound bus depot in Las Gatas. And I found out, no, it was Ma. And so he shows up every once in a while and scares the heck out of me. He said last time he did, he wouldn't show up again. It was here, and he showed up in the doorway, and I was late at night, and I went, and he faded, and in my head I heard, local psychic dies upon appearance of spirit guide in doorway. So stop it, Ma. But, you know, so he hardly ever, but when I was 5, he would sit in my playhouse and talk to me. And he'd play games with me and teach me things to do. So if you didn't really see your guide before you were 6, probably you're more, instead of just seeing him, you're gonna feel the energy. There's something about, almost everybody I know who's been a medium got in touch before they started school. There's something about going to school, you wanna fit in, and you're not gonna wanna talk about being different. And so that's what happens there. Okay. So, and if a spirit guide, did you take the spirit guide class that I gave here? Oh.
I was out of town.
Yeah, I gave a spirit guide class. And if you want a copy of our Academy of Esoteric and Spiritualistic Studies, send your name to Corky when she wakes up.
I'm listening.
Okay. And she'll send you a soft copy, so you can look at all the classes and when they're coming up and what we've done in the past and that type of thing. Because that's what we're trying to do, is get people more into things like that.
Have you in this, when this class started this time, you've already done the spirit guide one?
Yes.
Oh, shoot, I missed that one.
Yeah. We've already done it. Yeah, because I started out with a spirit, you get in touch with spirit, channeling, getting in touch with your spirit guide, and they kind of build one on each other. And so, yeah, that's what's going on here. Good. What other questions do you have?
Classes have a tendency to repeat if you stick around long enough.
Yeah, they do.
And sometimes there's different instructors that give a different look at things, which is kind of good to, in case one doesn't connect, then maybe the next one will. So.
Yeah, I wasn't here for the Akashic Records class, and I wish I was. I was sick, and because Julie does a good class, and she's got some other things coming up. Yeah, I try, the people I know that do different classes, we try and have them come and teach if that's their specialty, and that feels really good. The one, I don't know when it is, because I don't have a list here, the one class that is dynamite is how to do automatic handwriting.
It's kind of at the end of the year.
Yeah, towards the end of the year. Yeah, because that's one of those things that I have so many people have taken it and really found information.
And what is that?
What?
What is that?
How to find automatic handwriting?
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
I don't have a clue what that means.
Oh, that's what Jane Roberts did with Seth, is that he spoke, she automatically took down what he was saying. The Bible, a lot of it's been automatic handwriting, a lot of that.
Okay.
And so what you do is you get yourself in that space, and I put you into a meditative state, and you sit there and you just.
So you scribe, but you're guided on
Yeah.
the scribing, so,
Yeah.
okay.
And
Okay.
I love teaching it, and I'm so poor at it, because every time I try to do this, I get a guide. He's not a guide, he's a dead dude who died in the Second World War by falling off a ship. It wasn't shot, it wasn't anything else. His name's Silas. And anytime I open that window, he flows in, and he's as dumb as a nail. I mean, he just, yeah. It's just ridiculous. But automatic handwriting is the thing that opened up at least Stanford. He got all sorts of messages and everything else about what's going on there. Yeah, and so anytime I have an automatic handwriting class, he wants to come and tell
I
everybody.
have 3. Who needs one?
How excited he is about taking this. Ron and Lee are going on a Shasta trip with us.
Oh, they are.
Thank you.
I was
And
gonna
then
say, where are they
hopefully
now?
both
Some
of you
part
are
of the
signed
world?
up
They're just
to
home from
receive
Australia.
the newsletters, because all that information is in the newsletter also.
Yeah, I already have this one.
Okay,
Yeah, it's just a
These
list
are
of
just the
classes.
list of the
Yeah.
classes. I have these.
yeah, okay, good.
So when is the,
Yeah, so anyway,
have
Ron's still not feeling too good, but they're doing
Oh, really?
fine. Yeah.
I would have thought after he had retired
I
that
thought they were the
his
notes
health
from
had
the class.
improved,
that
probably.
no, you'll be getting that.
No, but he's
Automatic,
getting
November
better.
1st is automatic.
Yeah, yeah. good folks. Yeah, that's what I was telling you about the Shasta trip. I have so many more men going. Than usually it's very feminine. This time it's gonna be so balanced, but.
Oh, you're moving around.
More testosterone and, then it's not gonna be so estrogen driven, and that's great, so, yeah. Yeah, and Kim and Christina are going, and I don't know yet for he doesn't know yet.
I'm trying to get my wife to commit,
Yeah, that's fine, don't worry about it.
because I want to go, but, you know, I don't want to be in the room by myself, and I snore, and I eat meat, and, you know, it might not be the perfect fit for everybody, so.
So we've got another guy, Andrew's going, he snores, he says he's getting his own room, he snores. We have one woman that says she's getting her room because she snores. And, but I'm so excited about the Shasta trip, and only because of all these wonderful people that are coming, you know, it's gonna be great. Yeah, the next thing that we're gonna do with this is May 6th, we're all gonna make our own prayer flags, our prayer, because the labyrinth at the Gateway Peace Memorial where we're gonna go, all the trees are filled with these long pieces of material with slogans on them from people around the world.
Prayers.
And they're prayers of all different kinds. And there's little niches around the labyrinth, like to Kuan Yin and Sai Baba and all that, and all these different things that people have put out there. So before we go, we're going to have somebody do that, so each person can but the little tiny trees have notes that says, please don't put any prayer flags on.
Give us a chance.
You know, give me a chance to grow.
Yeah.
And we're going to Shasta Abbey, which is really, the problem with the Shasta Abbey is you leave there and think, that's where I want to be. Because a lot of the people have kind of lived their life and got retired and became Buddhist monks. And retired to the Shasta Abbey. But what impressed me is when we walked in, there's a great big picture of the founder of the place, and she looks just like me. She's this fat lady with no hair. See, I thought, I like this place. It reminds me of something I could do. Yeah, so we just have a lot of neat things coming up.
Yeah.
What else? I hate to have you leave. I'm having such a good time. Can you think of anything else? I think you all have the ability to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounded pretty good.
Yeah, so glad to see you again. This has been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And try it on you'll find you read strangers better than you do your husband or wife. So, you know, just walk out and grab somebody walking down the street.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to be
Sure.
See how that works for you, huh?
No, like, if any of your school teachers are interested, that's great, because you don't know them that well. You know them a little bit, and, you know, like Kim reading Kim would be great. You know her, but you don't know her.
Yeah.
You know, you're not sleeping with her, or that type of thing. You know, it's that energy of somebody that you don't want to tell them their own story. You want to, you want to be able to channel the story for them. So let's start looking at that. Okay. Okay, what time is it? Aha. Who, would you like me to do a quick reading on somebody? Come on.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Christina, have I ever done a reading on you?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, bring up your chair and you guys can all watch. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm not going to get real personal.
Oh, come on.